Hey everybody, this is Brant with Nutrition First Coaching. I thought it'd be helpful to make a video to go along with our holiday nutrition guide slash survival guide, but also because there is an accompanying worksheet. So when you get this, you should be able to print this off. It's going to have a lot of the tips and tricks we're going to go through, but it's also going to have kind of a worksheet to go through that will help you think about your holiday season and what you want to do exactly in your holiday season. So that's pretty helpful, but I thought it would be good to just go through some of this and explain it. Maybe you don't want to do the worksheet and you just want to get some good tips. So let's start with the first thing here. The holidays are not 6 or 7 weeks long. Think of the holidays as Thanksgiving and maybe the day after, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So maybe 6 days total. So we're talking holiday, not hollow weeks or even hollow months. So this doesn't have to derail your progress completely. Yes, there'll be a lot of things going on during the holidays. It's going to be more challenging. But if you can stay consistent or even lose some weight, build some muscle through the holidays, you're going to be so much better off going into the new year, and you'll feel good with the integrity you've built going through one of the tougher times of the season. So that's my first advice with this is change your mindset around it and really decide what we're going to talk about on this first one. What are your major parties or holiday celebrations that you want to just not think about and you want to indulge in? You haven't had grandma's apple pie for so long and you really want to try the turkey and stuffing and the mashed potatoes and everything. So that's what I'd like to say on this first part is pick out the dinner parties and or celebrations, holiday celebrations. How many are there? Try to keep it to 4 or 5, maybe 6 total, and put those on your calendar. Now, there's a lot of evidence saying that if you put those on a calendar and you mentally prepare yourself that those are days where you're going to get to eat whatever you want, not only is it helpful in terms of sticking with the other days and being more consistent and accountable, but it lets you just enjoy those days without having to feel guilty with what you eat. So put those on your calendar. You know when they're going to happen. If you can hear the dog barking in the background, don't bother with that. And then plan for them. And then just enjoy them. You don't have to try to eat as much as possible and see if you can eat 5,000 calories, but just enjoy what you're having at these meals. And don't worry about having, this extra little sliver of pie that you get once or twice a year. Have a nice drink. Just enjoy yourself in these parties. And, if nothing else, you're probably going to get pretty full. I would say stick to basic principles. Eat slowly, chew your food well, sip beverages, non-caloric beverages during the meal, and that's going to help too. The second part is going to be alcohol. And if you don't drink alcohol, great. Skip through this section. It's going to help you a ton. But if you do drink alcohol and your family is the people that celebrate around that, probably just knowing the basics around that is the best thing for you. If you are counting macros, you can specifically go into MyFitnessPal and enter things in, and you're going to see exactly how many calories are in different beverages. So I put like rough estimates here, like a 1 ounce shot is like 100 calories typically. 5 ounces of wine, 125 to 150. Then you get into some beers, especially the craft beers or the heavier beers. 12 ounces of that's going to be 150 to 200 calories or so. So you can really, you can get quite a few calories from those liquid beverages. Plus we know what alcohol does in terms of loosening up our inhibitions and making us want to eat more. So what I would say about alcohol is just be careful around it. Just like you planned what you're going to have at these different celebrations or when you're going to have them, then I would say plan how many drinks you're going to have, and just stick to your guns, so to speak. Make the drink a little bit more watered down and just kind of enjoy yourself a little bit more over time. Take your time to drink it. You can still have a drink. You can enjoy a drink. It doesn't mean you just have to go off the rails completely. Third one I would say is what does a typical plate of food even look like for you? If you're early on in a nutrition program, or even you're deep into a nutrition program and you're counting macros and you're used to weighing and measuring, and now all of a sudden you have these combined foods and casseroles and you have to figure out what a plate looks like and what you are going to go to first. This is where I think there's a couple good little tips we're going to go to at the end, but think about your plate as being broken into like a fourth of protein, as much veggies, half of a veggies or so as you can get with this minimal amount of dressing, sauces, and stuff on them. A fourth of starchy carbs in there too. And, those are your potatoes, breads, rices, desserts, and then some 0-calorie drinks, water, tea kind of thing, and then a little bit of fat on there. And depending on what you're eating, you may not need to add anything for fats, for any kind of flavoring, because there might be butters and oils and sauces and stuff on there already. So at least have an idea of what your plate might look like. And in your worksheet, I want you to draw it out for what you're kind of going for. If your goal is weight loss, lean towards more protein and veggies and very few starchy carbs. If you're trying to put on muscle, maybe there's some more starchy carbs in there and a little bit more protein with a little less veggies. But kind of know what your plate should look like beforehand. Draw it out so you have an idea of what it should look like. Let's skip down to 5 and talk about some tips, and then we'll come back to exercise. So number 5, this kind of goes with what a typical plate should look like and all the other celebrations and dinners, and just kind of maintaining some basic control in those situations. On the first plate, get whatever you want. Get all the goodies, pile it up, enjoy what you're going to get, whatever you want. If you're still hungry, on that second plate, when you go back, I want you to limit this strictly to protein sources and vegetables, and just try to fill yourself up on that. That way you're getting some good density, some good satiety will come from that, but you're not going to get a ton more calories out of that. Another good rule is just one dessert. If that's 2 slivers of 2 different desserts so you can taste different things, great, but don't let yourself keep going back and forth for more and more desserts, or just hitting little kind of pop-in desserts or whatever, the little bite-sized things that are super dangerous. And then try to minimize leftovers. What I mean by that is take home a little bit, especially if it's not hosted at your house. If it is at your house, give stuff away. Try to keep the protein and veggie sources, give away a lot of the desserts and the starchy carbs and the things you don't want to keep eating, after the celebration is done. So let's talk about one of the bigger reasons people get derailed, and that's usually they just stop exercising and moving through the holiday season. Sure, the weather's getting colder, the days are getting shorter, but just making it a priority to move a little bit, especially if you're traveling, it's going to be huge for you. And there's all kinds of, depending on where you're at with your knowledge and exercise, AMRAPs, as many rounds as you can do in a set amount of time. If you got 10 minutes, do air squats and push-ups, 10 of each, just go for 10 minutes. You'll be sweating by the end. Every minute on the minute, the EMOMs, you can set that up. One of my favorites is like taking 2 or 3 different movements. Maybe it's air squats, push-ups, and sit-ups, and you're going to do 15 of those every minute on the minute. And you do that for 15, maybe 18 minutes, something like that, and you're going to get 5-6 rounds in there of that. That's an awesome body weight one. If you have access to weights, that's when you can put together some different EMOMs. Maybe there's a squat in there, maybe there's a deadlift in there. Get creative with it. But really you just have to look at what do you want to do to maximize the time you have, how much time you have to do it, and then if you have equipment or not. But make it some kind of priority. I mean, maybe it's low activity walking a couple times a day. Maybe it's just you're going to do 100 push-ups throughout the day, but moving, exercising, maintaining that mindset that you're still moving towards your goal with health, muscle, feeling good, all those things. If you want to pick up this worksheet, just go to our website. The video will be with it. You get the worksheet. You can plan your stuff out over the next several weeks and into the new year. If you want some help with coaching, of course, you know where I'm at. That's always the biggest preference, is to have some accountability and somebody guide you through all this stuff. But I hope you pick up some free content. I hope you get some stuff that helps you. I'll see you on the next video.